Welcome to this week's installment of This Week in Vegan Instagram. I'm your host, Carnivore's Vegan, and we have a good juicy one this week. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and we'll just jump right in. It's going to be a good week this week. Okay, so first off, the saga of John Venus continues. He did say that he was not vegan last week, and he expanded on that a little bit, except this was very amorphous and didn't really say anything. But he did clarify later on. So he said, I eat plant-based, but I eat backyard eggs from time to time. So he really is not a vegan anymore. And then later on, even though he said, I don't want to talk about it, he decided to talk about it a little bit, and he's now showing his breakfasts with eggs. Yay, John. I hope he's feeding Noah eggs too, but he didn't say. I actually asked him a question. He was doing a Ask Me Anything on his stories, and I did ask him, but he didn't answer. And speaking of John Venus, very interesting. I don't know if you all have noticed. He's also, even though he's still not vegan, he's still making money from veganism. Well, I don't know what to make of that, but hey, whatever. Wherever you got to get your money from, I guess. Go John. So I don't know if you know that John Venus also has two brothers who are also vegan. Dr. Leo Venus, who is an MD, and he has a little brother, Andre. And I don't know if you've ran across his brother, Andre. He's also got a TikTok account. And without me saying anything, just guess how old his brother is. Have an idea in your mind. And I ran it through an AI program. So take your guess. Age results said 29. I think that's a little bit old. But that's what AI says. But he's actually 21. 20 or 21. He looks like he's already prematurely aging in my eyes. I think so. You see those crow's feet around his eyes, and he just, like, his skin texture isn't young. So, poor guy. Hope he wakes up and starts eating animal products too. But he hasn't posted in quite a while. He's been posting about once a month lately, and he used to post a lot more often. So, I don't know if he's having some second thoughts or not. But, of course, he's very vocal about his veganism. Oh, anybody can do it. Look at me. I've been doing it for 2 or 3 years, and he's barely in puberty. But then there's Leo Venus, Dr. Leo Venus, John's older, I don't know if he's older brother, but older than Andre. And interestingly, I was looking for him on Instagram, and I could not find him. So I got that when I looked for Dr. Leo Venus. So I used a couple of links from other sites that were to his Instagram page, and I still got this. So I used a account that I don't normally use that I shouldn't be blocked, and I still got this. And I asked on my Instagram stories if anybody else was getting this, and every single person got that, except one person did say that some other vegan got his page. So, and there was some question as to whether there is an AI program now that can basically block in mass anybody who disagrees with you or who, like, has a lot of friends that are not in the vegan world kind of thing, that aren't on your wavelength, so you can block in mass. So let me know what you guys get, but I am not getting Dr. Leo Venus neither on Instagram nor on YouTube. Both of those are gone for me. So let me know what you think, if this is due to just me, or if there's an AI program in mass, which I don't know about, and I find a little bit to be unlikely. But it seems more like he's just deleted his accounts. But let me know what you get. I don't know for sure. I don't remember why I was running across this guy. I think because somebody said he's like a 10-year vegan, and he's very active in the community and talks about veganism a lot. And I don't remember if he was saying something on Twitter or Instagram to me. I don't know. But in any case, I took a look at him, and boy, this guy, look at those crow's feet around his eyes. Holy crap. And again, I don't just like to say that people look old. This was his picture 3 years ago, and his skin texture just looks so much better. Those crow's feet are way less deep. And just go back and forth. I didn't put them side by side like I normally do, but you can really just see how deep those are. And that is not normal for a guy this age. I don't know exactly how old he is, but unless he's 60, you shouldn't be having crow's feet like that. That's terrible. These vegans, their collagen just goes really fast. I would presume he's not quite 40, but he shouldn't be having those crow's feet like that. Next one is fun. This is Dr. Pran Yoganathan, I think is how you say his name. I am not sure. But there's a new meta-analysis of cardiovascular disease risk and veganism, and there is no association between them. So neither good nor bad. Veganism does not improve cardiovascular outcomes. So, and here's the meta-analysis systemic review. And a couple of people have asked me to put the links to these on the information page below the video. And what I've decided to do, because that's kind of a pain in the butt, and I have to do that after I upload, it's easier for me to make a running spreadsheet. So what I'll do is I'll put a link to a Google Sheets, and that Google Sheet will have all of the links for all of my videos of all dates, and it'll just be a running link repository. So you can just go there and look at the date, and I'll try to put the latest date at the top, but it'll all be done by date, and you can see which date the links are and go to that page, and it should be the newest one. If you're on the newest video, it should be at the top. So that'll be the way that I organize that, and that way I can just leave the same link in and not have to put a new link in every time for new things, and just organize it all on a spreadsheet that you can look at, and that way you'll have a whole bunch of great resources there. So look below and you'll see that as a Google Sheets with all my resources from this and other videos. Not the last ones, but the ones in the future will have them. So this one and the ones in the future. So that's pretty cool that veganism does not help cardiovascular disease. And that's a systemic review of all of to date. And it's a very new one. I don't know. And it's from 2021. I try to have everything up to date, not just use old ones. All right, one of my favorite guys, lifting vegan logic. Being able to walk around a grocery store and grab prepackaged flesh does not make you an alpha at the top of the food chain. Yeah, it does. No other animals can do that, and we do. Excuse me. And we can do that because we're alphas at the top of the food chain, and we have been clever enough to be able to set up systems where we can actually do that. So, yes, that does make us alphas at the top of the food chain. Sorry. And back to him again. So my friend's neighbor's dad's cousin's mom's stepbrother's grandma's math teacher tried the vegan diet once and had health issues. Therefore, the vegan diet isn't healthy. And of course, he thinks that he's a jokester and being sarcastic all the time. But the sad thing about this is that he's always just misrepresenting things. Because, like, for instance, in the U.S., 10% of all adults have been former vegetarians and vegans. So it's not as though this is new. All the vegans want to think that they're edgy and new and that they found something that nobody else ever has. But my God, like, everybody's parents in the 60s was vegan because that was edgy. You know, hippies all tried going vegan and they all failed. Even in the 1800s, there were vegans. There was a whole vegan commune called Fruitlands that Louisa May Alcott, who wrote Little Women, her father was a vegan and he almost killed them all. So there were like 20 people there, and they all ended up disbanding because everybody was starving. So people have been doing this for many years. Yes, We all know vegans. Yes, we all know failed vegans. Most of us are ex-vegans. This is not new. We don't know some neighbor's, grandma's, dad's, math teacher's cousin. We know our immediate family member. Zoe Rooster again is talking about her health problems, and on a consistent basis, poor thing, except she acts like she's disabled. She talks about her disability all the time, and yet she can go to school every day, and she chained herself to something at school to try to get, I think, Smithfield's off their menu at Berkeley. And she just is chronically ill, but she can do all these things and walk around all day long, and she wants to say she's disabled when she just doesn't take care of herself, and she's tired because she doesn't take care of herself. But that's not a disability, really. All right, plant-based doctor again, and this is one of several. He keeps going on these great vacations in the middle of nowhere, and he keeps talking about how animal agriculture is one of the causes of extinction. He says the main cause of extinction, but all of these places that he's going are encroaching onto wild animal territories, and he has to be staying somewhere, so he's staying in places, in houses or shacks or cabins or whatever he calls them, in these areas that are encroaching on wild animal territory. And the last one that he went to, it was somewhere on the coast that he went out with his kids and his wife, and they ran across a nesting site for a rare penguin. And he was saying, oh, this is so beautiful, animal agriculture is encroaching on this. Well, he was literally encroaching on it. And he kept encouraging people to go to that cabin and book his friend's cabin. That's encroaching on their habitat. And he just can't see the irony of that. This guy is just a lunatic. This guy, cowboy ecologist, it's just a quick interaction with him. He calls himself Vegan Bully 69, and he said it consumes 1,800 gallons of water per pound of meat, and that is so far off because 94% of that is just rainwater on pasture. So really, it's 6% of that is actual irrigation water. And I had an interaction with him that was maybe 10 back and forths. It wasn't very long. And I got blocked. So I just thought I would share. I feel very proud that I got blocked by someone who calls themselves a bully. Go vegan bullies. All right. Food Insider is talking about fried chicken made of stem cells. This is the way that they're going. There's only one kitchen in the world allowed to serve it. Could it be the future of food? I will not be trying it until there's a generational study, but hey, you guys go ahead if you feel the need. But to me, this is not a very good development, and tons of resources used, tons of water, tons of electricity, tons of buildings and laboratories being made. So I think this is a bad development. Meat is already solar powered. Go solar power, go cows. James Aspie. He put up this book, Healing Back Pain, and I do recommend this book. This is actually a great book. And my honey had a L5S1 full rupture of his vertebrae. His I can't think of the words that they are. The disc. A full rupture of his disc, L5S1, and he used this, and it took away about 70% of his pain very quickly. But it's been about 10 to 12 years since he had a full rupture of his disc, and the doctor wanted to do surgery the next day after he got the MRI and said, holy crap, this is really terrible and you should have surgery. And he read this book, a couple of other books, and did a few other little things, and he was probably 70% relieved in pain by 2 weeks later, and he was fully recovered by about 3 months. And James Aspie has been in chronic pain for a decade, constant neck and back pain, for no apparent reason. I wonder what that reason might be, why you're having chronic back and neck pain. And then the pain moved from his neck to his lower back. But he's been suffering for 10 years with chronic pain, and he thinks that his vegan diet is great. All these people have something wrong with them. Like his, they have chronic pain, they have diabetes, they all have mental illness. It's really just insane. There's no vegans that are healthy. The more you look into these people, they just are less and less healthy. This is Gunhild Stordalen, and she just got I believe she's around 42, and she just got a stress fracture. Look at those stick arms and legs in her foot. And if you don't know who she is a billionaire behind Eat Lancet. So she's telling everybody to eat less meat. And while she's globetrotting, eat less meat to save the planet, while she's globetrotting in a private jet. And her husband was caught in Las Vegas eating a 20,000 calorie mega burger while he was telling everybody else that they need to eat tiny amounts of meat every day. So these are the kind of people that they are. And she ended up with a stress fracture, I believe, in her foot. I'm not entirely sure. Could be spine. I don't know, but it appeared to be in her foot. She didn't go into detail, and I looked for more details online and couldn't find anything. And I just wanted to show you some studies. These will be in that link below. As I told you before, that vegan bone mineral density is very poor. So higher fracture rates, lower bone mineral density. And these are new meta-analyses. So that one was from 2019. I may do a separate video on veganism and bone health because there's a really funny interchange between this Isabelle Iguacel and a scientist who did the Epic-Oxford study. And he wrote her saying, I don't think your study was good for these reasons. And she wrote back saying, well, I don't think you looked at the data. We looked at the data and we still think you're wrong. So I thought that was funny that they had a back and forth, like a scientific fight sort of thing. But this was 2018, January 2019, and it was a systemic review and meta-analysis of vegan bone health. This was from 2020 also. Bone loss, low height, and low weight in different populations. Meta-analysis between vegans and non-vegans. Again, 2020. These are all new. Vegetarian and vegan diets and risks of total and site-specific fractures, results from Epic-Oxford. And there is a... This guy, Dr. Timothy Key, was the one who wrote, and I believe Appleby wrote Isabelle Iguacel to tell her she was wrong. But their findings were, they did all sorts of adjusting for data. So they said, well, adjusted for this and adjusted for that, there's no problem with bone health. And she's like, well, this is the raw data and it shows that. So everybody adjusts for something different. So why did you choose these specific things to adjust when everybody else chose other things? And so I'm just using the raw data because it just shows that these are people. These are vegan people getting problems. And interestingly, vegans will say that this study is old because this Epic-Oxford, this is a rehash of a study that's been going on for like 20 years now. And they also did a bone health study on it 6 or 7 years ago, I think. And this is the ongoing new data. So vegans will say, oh, that's old data, new data is better. And it's not. This is the new data. It's from 2020. And it's recapping another 7 years of data on the same study. So don't let them tell you that this is old data. And there's just lots and lots of studies that are all new on vegan bone health. Vegan bone health is crap. The study provides evidence of lower bone health in vegans compared to omnivores, revealing a combination of nutrition-related biomarkers, which may contribute to poor bone health. So it's bad. Interestingly, so on the good side of Gunhild Stordalen. She's not all terrible. She does somewhat live what she preaches, and she isn't dogmatic vegan. So she is giving her dog something called Yora, and this is not a vegan formula, but it's also not a meat formula. It is an insect-based formula, and I am all for that. I don't know which kind. I didn't bother to look it up, but I've looked into black soldier fly larvae, and they are super high protein, super high nutrition, and very, very good for the environment. They use basically just waste products from basically anything. You can give them any waste products and they turn it into protein, even coffee grounds. So that is something I can totally get behind, is just using insect protein for pets that is from waste products. And she also had a post that I thought was very surprising, where she's showing World Milk Day. And she was saying, yes, they can be a part of a sustainable diet. I think she's low on how much you can have. She says you can have 0 to 500 grams of milk or equivalent per day. And she clarified that because Plant-Based News said, hey, what are you talking about? I thought you're a vegan and you're not supposed to be recommending this. And she's actually also a medical doctor too. So she's saying 500 grams of milk a day isn't terrible, and that's at least more leeway than most vegans will give. So you got to give her kudos for not being as dogmatic as other vegans. And she also did a post on her stories that said, she was talking about Seaspiracy and Cowspiracy and What the Health. And she said, in addition to them raising critical issues, those documentaries, she said they have one thing in common. They all cherry pick the science and fuck up the facts. And she asked everybody if that was a problem, and 90% said yes. And I thought that was interesting that she's at least admitting that they are not all clean and clear, and that there's some level of propaganda, which I think is great that she's at least admitting that. So go Gunhild. I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure. So I'm going to take a different tack on Monomy Frost, and I just wanted to show you something interesting. She's kind of mostly taken her kids out of her videos, and this one doesn't actually have her child in it. She just is talking the whole time. And I wanted you to notice the number of views she has and the number of subscribers. And in this particular video, she has about 1.5% of her subscribers are watching her videos. That is absolutely, totally pathetic views. Really, really bad. And this is not new. This is fairly standard for her. This is a whole, 5 days ago, a week ago. She is not getting very many views. And compare this to about 3 years ago. She was getting 10 times the views 3 years ago, 100,000 views fairly regularly. And 3 years ago, she would have had fewer subscribers. So that's even worse that has more subscribers and getting less views. Poor Monomy Frost. That's not looking good. And interestingly, so this is something called Social Blade, and that'll be on the spreadsheet as well. You can see how YouTube influencers are doing. Any YouTube channel, you can see some data. I think they have a subscription that you can see more data. But this shows how many subscribers she gets monthly. And it used to be she was getting even up to 20K a day, a month, 5,000 a month, 6,000 a month, 25,000 a month. That's really awesome. 15,000 a month, 15,000 a month. And now it's going down and down and down. And this is 0. She's actually getting negative numbers now. So she's losing subscribers. Well, that's not looking good for Monomy. And she also is getting, her views are going down, 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 down. She was getting 3 million views a month at one point. That's pretty badass. And that's gained. So I'm not sure how they calculate these, but that says monthly gained video views. So that's more than her average is what I'm assuming that is. And now she's getting about 0 over her monthly average. So she's just getting low views. So it sounds like her YouTube channel is kind of dead. Plant-based news. This was super funny. Over 70% of men say they'd rather cut their life expectancy than ditch meat, poll finds. And I didn't read into the story, but I just thought it was funny because I can just imagine how the poll went. And I'm sure the poll went something like, so would you rather eat meat than live longer? You know, like a full loaded question that they didn't prove first. I can't imagine that the poll was honest and talked about the study, talked about the data, that there's no data saying that you live longer as a vegan. So just a bunch of bullshit. But I thought this was funny that even if we lost, and I think it said up to 10 years, would they lose 10 years of their life to continue to eat meat? And they said yes. So it just shows you how ingrained meat is into our DNA, that we would be willing to lose 10 years of our life to continue to eat meat because we know it's good for us. We just know that intuitively, as all animals do with their diets. And last but not least, I regret to say that there's another vegan child that has died, at this time a 7-month-old, from a mother who was feeding him a quote-unquote biblical vegan diet. And she said everything he needs is in vegetables, according to the Bible, and somehow she also wanted him to not be fat. She said she's a small woman, and how could she carry around a fat-ass child? So she got her wish. She got a thin child, and now she doesn't have to carry anything around. So why is it that mentally ill people are always attracted to veganism? Or is it that veganism creates mentally ill people? That's a good question. And this is just a sort of reminder of the people that we're dealing with on these social medias. Most of them have only been vegan like 6 months. So I predicted this. I said, you've probably only been vegan like 6 months. And he's like, you don't know anything about me. And I said, well, it's just statistically likely that you've only been vegan for 6 months. And sure enough, he admitted that it had only been 6 months, calculating that he was about 25 years old. So just a reminder that these are the kind of people we're dealing with, of people that have barely even been vegan and just think that they're edgy and found something new that nobody else has, and they're super smart. So on that last note, just doing a little farm thing. This was a little poopy that one of our little piglets that got stepped on by its mommy, and we kept him in the house for about 5 days feeding him, and his wound got healed up, but he's still got a big limp. And what's super funny is we brought him out while this rancher was over, and crusty old guy who's been a rancher since he was born, basically, because he was born on a ranch, and he's 55 years old, and just this crusty guy who's lives his whole life as ranching, and his whole life he's been out in the country, and he's like, I'll take him, I'll bottle feed him and make sure he gets all well. So he went home with this crusty old rancher to live with his chihuahuas on the chihuahua bed. So super funny. I think he'll get better. He seems to be doing okay, but we don't know if his leg's broken or maybe he's got tendon damage or something like that, but he's not walking well. But he's going to be a little pet for a while, and then once he gets to be a couple 100 pounds, he's going to be bacon. So he said, I'll take him as a pet, but you can slaughter him and give him back to me as bacon. We said, okay, we can do that. So poor little Popey. That's what happens when you keep them in pasture, because the moms can step on them in the CAFOs. They keep them in farrowing crates so that they don't do that. And as terrible as it is that they keep them in farrowing crates, it also keeps the piglets safe. But hey, live and take a risk. So this poor little Poopy, that's poor little thing went all the way through his hide. I think we could see a little bit of a tendon under there, but that wound is healing up great. But whether he'll walk again on that leg, we just don't know. But anyway, that's just like giving you guys a little farm story at the end. And again, that's it. This Carnivore is Vegan. Please like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Have a great day. Bye.